Welcome to Lafette Custom Uncensored. Today we are going to show how to block. We've got 2K primer on this door. There's a little bit of damage right here. I've repaired it, pulled the dents and add a little filler. What we're going to do is we're going to show how to block. I'm using 180. I have 3 different pads here. I have a long and a short hard pad, which is what you need to block with. I have one that's kind of like a wet sanding pad that I do on some of the curves and little areas that it's hard to get to. And what I'll do is I'll show you as I'm doing it the scratch marks, which will let you know the high and the low spots of what's going on. So and I use this just to keep my paper clean. We'll start off with a long block. The longer the block, the flatter the surface will be. We'll start off and I do angles like this, and then I'll come back and forth. Of course, that right there really doesn't show you a whole lot. I'm just showing you the angles, and I'll go back and forth the other way too. Okay, you can see right there. You can see the low and the high spots right there. Scratches, that's high, low, high. Yep. And we'll sand that till it's all smooth. Bondo shows through. We're going to prime again, but so that's, and don't really have to put a lot of pressure. Yeah, and then when you get to the corners and stuff, you just kind of don't really, just kind of get close to it. Don't keep going over it. It may or may not break through on the metal. If you don't want metal showing, you want to sand it, and it all have primer over. Some of it will, some of it won't. We're going to prime it again, but you don't want a whole lot showing for the last prime, because the last prime will be before the paint. And you know, when you're doing a lot of this, you need to be having a mask on. I'm doing it. Well, I don't have a mask on right now because there's not a whole lot, and I'm doing an information. It's going to be a short video. Do this for a long period of time, or every day, you definitely have a mask on, because you can tell a difference. All right, so I'm going in the same direction. I'm going to turn and come from the other way. And I like to do a cross pattern on my sanding. You can see I'm starting to come through in some spots right here. That right there is a low spot. Right there, right there. And on this roll, just kind of roll it over like that. Don't do a hard stop on it. And when you get to the metal, you got to stop. All right, see right there, that's showing metal. That's a high spot. I don't need to do a whole lot more sanding right there. So we'll sand and stay away from that and try to sand around it. That's when the small block comes into effect. You can see the difference. We got low here, low there. That's actually something that probably needs to have a little filler in. But I'm gonna keep sanding this way with this. I'm gonna stay off of that. See, this right here looks good. We still got to come down here. Still got to come down here. I'm actually gonna go to a smaller block now and just kind of hit this a little bit right here. And don't want to keep it, need to move around. Don't stay in the same spot. See, that's looking a lot better right there. So I'm gonna come around and do it. Change my pattern a little bit. See right here, got metal showing right there. That's as far as we can go. Kind of sand this down. So that right there looks good. Get a little low right there. Got a high spot there. High spot there, high spot there. So that right there is a little low. Good thing about the 2K primer, it does feel a little bit. So when we put another coat on it, probably be fine right there. And this right here, long block's better. There's no vents or anything down there. Just kind of smoothing that off. We'll get back to this on this side. Kind of keep coming down with it. Block it to where the primer and the old paint come together. And I'll show you right here. Not quite there yet, but this will fade from the primer and it'll feather in nicely. Starting to do it real good. I'm gonna sand it just a little more and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay. I'll wipe this off. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. All right, so still got a little low spot right there, so I'm gonna sand a little more on that. I don't know if you can see right here where the sand scratches go from the paint to primer. It's there's no definite edge right there. It just kind of blends from one to the other. That's the way you want your sanding to be. You cannot feel that. You will not see that. That's the way it's supposed to be right there. So I'm gonna sand a little more up here. Try to get this out. That way it'll be ready for next coat of primer. This thing's moving a little bit. Kind of do it like that. I'll come back over here and I'll go back the other way. As you can tell, I'll show you my sand scratches. That's what I go by. They're all in a pattern like this. You can see they're pretty even all the way down. See how the scratches are? They're even all the way down, uniform. That right there shows that that panel right there is flat and is good. So the low spots that were there, they're now gone. They have just a little bit of a high spot right there, a little bit of a high spot right there and there. That right there is a little low, so I'm going to sand right here a little bit more. Get that down as low as it can before we prime it again. And of course, the end goal is for that to go away with the priming so we don't have to put filler on it. And I'm just kind of going around it. And I'll swap up. Always fill it. Okay, so I'm starting to see some other stuff coming through right there. All right, so we got something right there that's going to be probably old paint or maybe metal. Same thing right here and here. That's still there, so we're going to stop right there. That right there, we'll have to have a little filler in it. So we'll go on this little roll area right here. It's kind of like where I like to use a soft pad. Kind of gives me a little easier to get that roll in there. Now if this had body damage on it right there, you would want a longer block and maybe a stiffer block. I use a paint stick too. I'll do it like that. it's being shorter like this, it allows me to go over that curve and not have such a big wide thing, and it allows it just to be more of a curve over it, not leave a line. I do this the same way. I just kind of go back and forth like this, kind of stay off the edge still, so you'll hit it right at the end, kind of like that. And you're always wiping it and feeling it. Do that continuously through the whole process. It's still got a little bit of texture to it. You want all that right there gone. And I kind of roll it in this edge. I kind of use that corner and just kind of roll it like that to get that curve in there. You don't want to do this and go straight down like that. If you do, you'll leave a line right there and you'll see it all day long. Kind of roll it in there. That's why I like the soft block right here. It helps with that curve right there. And just kind of roll it up in there when I do it. And I'm doing it like this. I come here and then roll it, come back. And you really don't have to push down real hard. You got a decent amount of pressure on it, but you don't want to push too hard on one side or the other. It'll leave a line. All right, so we'll do that, and then we see it's looking a lot better. Still got those. Still see what's got to be sanded. It all needs to look like this. So that right there. I'm concentrating mainly on the bottom right there where that curve's at. I'm trying to keep it from rocking like it does. All right, so we see we're coming through right there. As we stay off of that. Okay. Down here some more. Okay. Before we get that done, we'll go ahead and start sanding on this right here. We'll do this, and then we'll do some more here to make sure that this right here is nice and smooth in that curve. So we just right here, same, like just real small, not up and down, kind of at an angle, same thing. And we'll just swap it up the other way. You're still using 80? Using 180. And you can also use paint stick on this too. It'll work here also. And now I'm gonna do the same thing I was doing on the bottom, kind of coming down and rolling it over, make sure that it doesn't leave a line in that curve right there. Okay, that right there, looking nice and smooth. Like that. Okay. All right, so that's pretty good on that right there, and this right here, and they still have a little bit of area right there. And I usually just get a small piece of 180 and usually use my finger and just put it in that groove right there and just kind of go back and forth, kind of letting it fall in the natural curve of the truck body line, and just kind of have my finger kind of going back and forth like that in that curve. You got to be careful with that. If you, this will also leave a line. It's touching all the way around. And this right here has actually got a little curve in that middle. It's not an angle. Kind of goes like that. Okay, that right there. I'll get all that ready for the next coat of primer. We'll have to put a little filler in right there. Everything else seems to feel nice. It's nice and flat, smooth. You see the scratches right there. I think that right there would complete the blocking on this stage. We would prime this again, and when we prime it the next time, we'll prime the whole door, and it'll be blocked and sanded with 320, and we'll be ready to paint after that. So that right there is the way that I block 2K primer. Pretty much block. It's about the way I block anything. It's basically the same rules I block on everything. I use this cross pattern, and it works out real good for me. Definitely want you to subscribe, like, share. Want your comments. I'm always up for anything new. Thank you. Have a good day.